Hello and welcome to episode 91 of Three Pints and a Clean Sheet. Another weekend has been and gone. How are we, gentlemen?
Good, thank you.
Good, thanks.
Kyle appears to have a bad smell in his room at present. I
Oh,
might
shite.
suggest it might be him.
The shit you're going to talk in a minute.
Is it now? And, well, I better ask Robert how he is. I got distracted by Kyle.
Yeah, I'm fine. Good, thank you.
Before we get into it, a nice win for Rangers at the weekend.
Nice, very nice, actually. I would say.
Happy for a change.
Needed it. It was a confidence booster, I would say. For our audio listeners, Greg's got a big cheese in his face because he knows I'm about to bring up Cyril Besters.
And Danilo, sorry.
And Danilo's been injured for that long.
I have never slagged off Danilo. I've just said he might not be big enough to play through the middle in Scotland.
Well, he did slag off Desters and he played well, so.
Yes, well done. He can beat Ross County, so can quite a lot of people. Anyway, just thought I'd get that. And I could put some in for Celtic as well, just, for the balance. Two big wins going into the Old Firm, which is Sunday, and we will come to you with a review of that next week, unless Robert is crying in his man cave.
I hope not, but I don't know. The way things are looking at the minute, I might be washing my hair all next week, so I won't be.
That's good.
No
We
surrender.
can talk
No
shit.
surrender.
We can slag off Rangers without you. Anyway, moving on. One man who definitely does not stop for one day to wash his hair is Erling Haaland with another, possibly the most predictable hat-trick going.
I think he does wash his hair. It's quite long and luscious.
Yeah.
Haaland does what Haaland does.
It was. Yeah. Go on, Kyle.
It was very inevitable, as you so kindly said.
Yeah, what was not inevitable was Ipswich taking the lead.
It's something Man City do. They always go behind against the lesser team in the league, then say, oh shit, we're Man City, let's win.
I think it was the wake-up call they needed. Obviously worked well enough.
Yeah, obviously, Liverpool and Man City, the first two games in the Premier League for Ipswich, not the easiest start.
You say that again. It probably wasn't what they were looking for when the fixtures were first announced, but I think maybe getting those fixtures out of the way early isn't a bad thing. Maybe
while the team's still gelling.
Yeah. They're really the free hits anyway.
And a good goal for summer signing Sammy Schmodics from Blackburn. Good to get him off the mark in the Premier League. A bit of a mistake from Ederson, though.
Ederson has to be doing better for me. I mean, he's closed the angle and he's just turned to jelly. I don't really know what's happened. He's just went through him.
And they should have cleared it as well, whoever the defender was with him.
I mean, it was a great example of one, how not to defend, and two, playing the offside line, because I thought they did it excellent. They had the two strikers playing both onside.
Yeah. Not the only goalkeeper mistake in this game, though. Second goal for Man City, obviously, there's the penalty to equalise, which, given by VAR, I don't think anyone can moan.
I think it was a penalty. Savinho.
To be honest, it's a bit stupid from Davis. Like, in the Championship, you might get away with putting your foot in there and the referee doesn't give a penalty and life's good. In the Premier League, that's a penalty every day of the week.
I think it's a great example of how VAR should be used.
But if you're the defender there, like, he's going nowhere. Like, he's just going down the line. Show him down the line, put the ball out for a corner. Like...
Sort of player what looks at it. That's Savinho.
Yeah.
City kind of handed over the sleepy reins, if you could say that, because it just seemed to switch off, I thought, from their massive start to they kind of just realised, oh shit, this is Man City, we're playing, and drop right back.
The penalty then gives you an oh shit, and then obviously the error from the new goalkeeper on his debut, Muric, former Man City player, I believe,
yes.
Makes that error on his debut at the Etihad.
What'd you expect?
Honestly, from my point of view, again, this skips over the third goal, which is an absolutely gorgeous goal. But the second one and the fourth one, it's so naive from Ipswich. And I know teams in the Championship try and do this. We're in the Premier League. We got here playing our football. Let's keep playing our football. But two of those goals, the second one and the fourth one, just don't play out from the back like that. Just if you hump it up the park and try and be more traditional and not fanny about at the back, the goals don't happen.
Yeah, notably from City's point of view, could have been a lot more. Obviously, Lewis hitting the crossbar and De Bruyne thunder blasting that one off the crossbar as well.
Yeah.
Amongst the rest.
Yeah.
Probably God knows how many other chances, but yeah, I just feel like it could have been a lot more.
Yep.
And I'll make one more point. Haaland is an FPL hero for me, is anyway. And I have to say, if any of you captained him, you jammy bastard.
Triple captained them.
That's what I meant. Triple captain.
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean,
I did
Kyle
captain
Pagan,
him. I meant triple
Kyle
captain.
Pagan, champion from last season, was very clear he was triple captain Haaland in this game. I kind of regret it now.
I just regret picking him in general.
Yeah, you really should. FPL update to come. After Manchester City's 4-1 win against Ipswich, half 5 was Villa versus Arsenal. This, I feel like I've seen Arsenal play this game 1,000 times before.
I agree.
Yeah. I want to start off before we get into the actual game itself. I thought the kits, like obviously I know the socks and shorts and clash, but I thought the colours were a bit like. Does Arsenal not have a lighter coloured top than that?
I can't remember. Closer.
I mean, I don't know what the third kit is.
We're wearing that black number, but I actually, obviously, from a distance, and
the Arsenal third kit is blue, but I think it has dark blue shorts. Is the problem?
I was going to say, I thought that would have. I thought it was quite. I know Villa aren't that dark, but I still thought it was a bit of a clash. Right, sorry. Into the actual game itself.
Yeah, my analysis was I've seen Arsenal play this game time and time before, and like especially was it last season, or whenever they got Trossard, I feel like Arsenal have played that game with Trossard before.
Yeah.
But we'll play last season with Trossard. But they got beat 8 times. I
meant in terms of since they signed Trossard in the games that Arsenal have kind of been under a bit of pressure, lucky not to be 1-0 down, Trossard seems to have a knack of just turning up off the bench and finding the net.
I would like to say he always seems to score whenever he plays. Somehow.
Yeah, he just seems to turn up.
He must not play a lot because he's never top scorer, but he's always scoring, which is crazy. I would say the Villa looked the better team until that save from Raya, which was
that's 2 weeks in a row.
There was 2 saves in a row.
Was it?
He tips one at the crossbar and it comes back out and he saves the rebound.
I couldn't tell. I thought just like hit the bar for the.
No, I'm sure he tips it at the crossbar, comes back out for point blank and saves it again.
Well, either way.
He made an unbelievable save last week as well.
He wasn't that good last season, but he's proved it this year already.
No, I think there was always glimpses last season. I just think he's,
He had too many calamities.
There were calamities last season is the difference. I think the big difference is that he's made 2 unbelievable saves. He's not had a calamity yet.
One man did was Amy Martinez, so he did. For that second goal.
Did. A weekend of goalkeeping errors.
I think it was one in every game.
Say that again. Just about.
Just about.
Yeah, I would die in that hill.
But I put down his second goal comes from an absolutely excellent ball over the top. I thought they played the long ball that ended playing up the line and then he ends in the box. But it initially comes from an absolutely exquisite ball over the top. I couldn't tell you who actually played it because I can't remember, but I remember thinking what a ball that was. And I feel like that's the football I love. The ball over the top, like absolutely turning the defence over. You know what I mean? If you're sleeping, you get punished.
Yeah.
I would say that if Watkins was somewhat competent and not a one-season wonder, Villa would have won that.
He's definitely not a one-season wonder. I'm not having that.
No.
Just had an off day.
I'm just opinions. He had 2 easy chances and he didn't score either.
He did not. I will say, moving on to Sunday now, Kyle will be happy with Arne Slot's first game at Anfield. Routine 2-0 win over Brentford, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of just, we're always going to win. It's just the score wouldn't suggest it maybe, but I think it was standard sort of stuff.
Made much easier by scoring with your literal first shot.
Oh, yeah, that
does. I was going to say a lovely streak it was.
It really was. I don't know if anyone's seen Thomas Frank's interview after the game, but Thomas Frank basically describes everything wrong with the goal in one goal.
Is that good? Bad?
Like, he basically stands there and goes really close to getting her head on the corner, comes out to a 50-50 and we make an absolute arse of it, and then we do really badly with a 2-on-2.
Sounds like Thomas Frank.
Yeah, he is quite frank.
Seems like a moaning face person.
I don't think he was moaning. I thought
I
he was
don't
quite refreshingly honest about it. He was just like, do you know what? It was just shit all the way round.
I quite like him. I don't know why I said that. He's quite a good manager.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was just standard stuff.
Mr. Reliable, Salah.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be there.
Could have been a lot more again, same as the last few games just discussed. Could be a
Mark,
lot more.
Mark Flecken had an absolutely unbelievable game, I thought.
That
in the
save for
Brentford
Robertson was
goal.
quite good.
Yeah, with his
Off
face.
Off his coupon eye.
Aye.
Then there's one for Trent, corner. Nearly scored a corner, I should say.
Brentford's only real chances seem to come from set pieces.
That's how they've been for their Premier League time.
No Ivan
He's
Toney again.
I think it shows they don't need him. We said this last week, I think, but they don't really
Lost
need him.
2-0.
I know, but free hit, as you said, with Ipswich.
I don't know. I think Brentford's one of those teams that could take points. But,
Anyway, so 2 games in, I think that we've learned not very much about the top 3.
They're all good, is what we've learned.
They're all good. They've not played each other. Obviously, Man City have played Chelsea, being kind of the best team that any of the top 3 have faced. This weekend. Yeah, that's true.
Is he Askerley?
This weekend is Liverpool Man United, which will be interesting to say the least.
Still say Villa, by the way.
Hmm?
Would still say Villa.
Oh, that's controversial, but Man United did continue their habit of losing to Brighton. Lost 2-1 in the very dying embers of this game. I caught a bit of it on my excursion. I have caught up with it afterwards. Anyone want to take that away about Man United or Brighton?
I'll just say lol. Lol at Man U.
very sloppy defending from the get-go. Like, start as you mean to go on, for obviously the first goal. Welbeck hitting 100 Premier League goals. And there was 100, I think.
That guy Wilbs.
Yeah, and Kyle made a point we were talking the other day. That's what, since 2008? It's not the best return for a striker.
Best one's played in Man U and Arsenal.
Yeah, that's what I
thought. That's true, though he's not really consistent. Like, I wonder how many appearances those 100 goals are over.
As I said that, I did think maybe, I don't know how, no, I should have looked up how many appearances he's made, but still, if you look at it from the outside in without looking at all the fine details, it's pretty not shit, but
I'm having a nice feeling.
Well, May's probably a good way to put it.
I mean, there's a couple there, like there's a couple of seasons here, right? 2 seasons at Man United, 27 appearances, 1 goal, 25 appearances, 9 goals. Arsenal, 25 appearances, 4 goals, 28 appearances, 5 goals. He has never scored 10 in a season. The most he's ever scored is 9.
I would say that he's never been the number 9. He's always been the backup.
That is true. Even for Brighton, like in seasons at Brighton, he scored 6, 6, 6, 5, and he scored 2 in 2 games this season.
So he's on course to get, 9 goals? Because he'll play about 9 games.
Yeah. That's the most. That'll be the joint most he's ever scored. My questions for Man United were: what the hell times 2? What the hell is the defending for the first goal?
Non-existent.
It's so passive. They just let Brighton do whatever they want.
I enjoyed Maguire saying he couldn't get to the ball when he could get to the ball. Because right next to him or something.
Yeah, he could. He'd moved his weight. He'd moved his weight to mark the back man rather than watch the ball coming across the 6-yard line. Yeah. But Mazraoui doesn't go, so the ball goes right the way through. And then Martinez, I know I'm not Lisandro Martinez's biggest fan, but why the hell of the 2 players he can pick to mark? 1, he shouldn't be marking 2 people. But of the 2 he can pick to mark, why does he pick the one further away from the ball?
He does. Martinez things. I think
it's just
defensively they're just kind of messy.
They were. Hopefully De Ligt will help with that. And Lenny Yoro when they are both fit and ready to go in the team. Anyone want to say anything about the Man United equaliser or the disallowed goal?
Just started standing watching for the second goal. Obviously, probably should say before that, Garnacho's no goal.
Yes.
That's,
think probably
that's bollocks.
That's
What do you
his
mean it's
kind of
bollocks?
striker's instinct, but he should have been leaving it.
I mean,
I think he tries to get out of the way.
I think he goes and realizes it's just too late.
I'm interested in Kyle trying to argue that this should be a goal.
obviously we know I don't like Man U, but it was pretty much over the line. I would just let it slide.
Yeah, but like you can't like you then end up with another edge case where you have to make that argument and another and another and another, and then the offside rule appears.
I know, but he's
If
not.
that's it, if that's Liverpool that's conceding that goal,
Yeah, of
no,
course, yeah. But
yeah, I mean, well, but you've got to look at it with a neutral point of view. I think
you can see the arguments for like that should just be given potentially.
No,
Well, you
Some
would because
point
you're
of
Mr. Awkward, but
I mean it's offside.
it is offside.
Well,
I'll agree with Greg on this one.
What about the case where Garnacho is going to miss, and it hits Xerxes and goes in?
Well, he's got. You just need to look at the angles, I guess.
But you can't definitively prove that.
He's
Is this a
gone. I
convenient
think.
moment for Kyle to freeze?
Touch on the line. It's no guy just. Missed it. Too late.
Fine. What if the keeper was standing behind him?
It was a bit different. A dash taking scenarios.
Well, exactly. You can't just take into account scenarios. It just needs to be offside.
It's up to my bet. That's why I wanted to count.
I mean, it screwed me out of God knows how many fantasy football points I had both Garnacho and Xerxes.
That's why I had Fernandez. That's why I wanted to count.
As you say, Robert, the Brighton winner from João Pedro, take it away.
No, I just started watching it. It's pretty shit, to be honest. I feel like I'm going to refer back to my Man United banana peel point. Is it's always there looming, and I feel like Brighton is the team that seem to throw it out. It's like playing Mario Kart. Just they're just launching it out. They're asking for it. They're actually standing and watching it.
But they were asking for it before then. Like it seemed like
no.
right at the end. It seemed like right at the end they were just happy to hold on for a point.
And that's just how far they've fallen.
I think they got what they deserved.
I mean, they did, but the defending is like that. That is it criminal defending of the weekend? It probably is. There was a couple others I wrote down. What the hell are they doing? But I don't think it was. Yeah, I think this one is criminal defending of the weekend.
Yeah, probably the most severe case.
Because it's not just João Pedro there. There are three Brighton players completely unmarked at the back post.
It's like they just shut off as soon as there's a bit of pressure in the box.
That was the other point I was going to add, which I think is appropriate here, though we're going on to some other games where this happened. How many goals were there from set pieces this weekend? Either from that team's corner or from that team at the other end. Like they've gone up for a corner and conceded.
Every second goal seemed. Yeah,
there were a lot of goals, even the ones that were like kind of first cleared and then put back into the middle. There were so many set piece goals this weekend.
I think Austin McAfee was a busy man this weekend.
I mean, I think Villa are one of the few people who didn't concede from a set piece.
Didn't score one either.
No, they didn't. But that begs a question, right? Pretty much every Premier League team has a set piece coach now, right?
Yes.
So, given the amount of time we see people scoring set pieces, do people just not work on defending them now? Because that's how it appears. Yeah.
They're too busy trying to hit them around that stupid wall. You get the fake wall.
Yeah.
To be fair, like it just kind of shows the Premier League. I feel like we've always said anyone can beat anyone, and if you're good at set pieces, then that helps. But I feel like your point of maybe defending them would be a good idea as well.
Yes, and talking about that, I can go to my first what the hell were they were doing. Moving on to Sunday afternoon. We're going to go back to a game from Saturday in a minute, but moving on to Wolves 2, Chelsea 6. The first goal that Wolves concede. What the hell is the marking?
Was that Nico Jackson? Aye.
The Nico Jackson goal, where he's basically got a free header at the back post with no one on the post to block it, and about three of them standing on the line of the 6-yard box zonally marking no one and not moving.
Or just that age-old thing, like, lads, it's okay, it's just Nicholas Jackson.
Or, lads, it's okay, let's mark our zone and not the man who's standing just outside the zone with a free header. And I know it takes a deflection off one of the Wolves players in the 6-yard box, etc. But you can't be allowing that. That's exactly why zonal marking doesn't work.
So zonal marking's a nick.
Yeah, literally one flick off, and someone's free.
Man to
Yeah, it
man
was
all the
pretty
way.
shoddy.
It really is.
Yeah, I put. Aye, I'll come on. I'll let you move on to your next point.
Sorry, point number 2 was what the hell are Wolves doing? Was I think pretty much the first, second, and third goals they conceded. Wolves obviously scored 2 in
Two good
between
goals.
1 and 2 and 2 and 3. Wolves, again, especially the second Wolves goal, is a really well worked set play. But the second goal they concede to make it 2-1, the Cole Palmer one, it is a lovely chip from Cole Palmer. But that's like free kick, ball goes out for a goal kick, Sanchez takes it quickly, and it's a 2-1 up the park.
What was the goal
That's
again as well? The Wolves goalie.
Hmm?
Gone walkabouts.
Well, I think he's also just started so far up the pitch and got caught out with it, right?
Yeah. Well,
I just think I think you've got to give more credit to Palmer in that situation. I know it is shit
Cheers.
defending, but he seems to
It's
have
a
a bit
lovely,
of
it's a lovely ball to him as well.
He's got the Midas touch at the minute. I feel like he can't do much wrong at the moment.
Sorry.
And then obviously,
It was funny the first time.
I'm gonna keep doing it though. Sorry.
then obviously, Madueke being the hero, the villain, of Wolves villain and Chelsea hero in that second half.
Was that he obviously got a hat trick? Was it? I think it was a hat trick of assists for Palmer as well. I could be wrong. Was it three? I think it was 3. I believe it was 3.
I believe it was 3 assists and a goal for Cole Palmer.
And obviously, like Felix popping up and getting a goal on his return as well.
Yep, as someone said, doing more than what he did in his last spell at Chelsea.
I would like to point out that seeing about 10 years, that is one of the games that you look forward to seeing on Premier League years. That's one, when you watch. I don't know if it'll still be a thing then, but that's the type of game that I would want to see, and that's definitely a Premier League classic, and that's one of the ones that it's good for the views.
It really was. I felt a really good game. Chelsea look to have a decent front four now. Like I know they should with the players in the team, but I thought the front four looked really good.
I feel like that part of things is starting to fall together. The defence, not so much, but we did say Chelsea were going to have to look at it as more of a long-term thing, and it's maybe starting to fall into place. But
if
defensively,
we score 2, if you score 2, we'll score 3. That type of approach might just about work. But the front 3 they started of Mudryk, Palmer, Madueke, and Jackson, and obviously João Felix came in there as well. That's a good a front 4 as you'll find anywhere in the Premier League.
And Nkunku as well to come in.
And Nkunku as well, yeah.
And probably some other randoms kicking about Sterling if he gets let back in.
Yeah, he's not going to get let back in though. Not going to get. Well, he's away, is he not? I'm led to believe Lukaku is going or has gone to Napoli.
Or he's on his tour to Italy.
It's looking like it.
Yes, TBD. But that game as well, Robert. You say it was also made a bit better by the fisticuffs, which I quite enjoyed. The fisticuffs and the pre-match kind of tension of they're not Premier League years is not going to be able to make the Madueke hat-trick feel as important as it is because they won't have had the Noni Madueke Instagram post of everything in Wolverhampton is shit the night before.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
We want engagement. In the comments below, tell us, have you been to Wolverhampton? Is it shit?
I haven't, but
I've been through it.
I've seen a defence.
I've been in Birmingham.
Thanks for that.
Well, close enough, isn't it? I thought they were rivals. Maybe they're not.
I mean, they're close, but they're not the same thing.
No, but you know what I mean, sure.
It's like people asking what Dumfries is like and then saying, I've been to Annan. Is that close enough?
Galloway, innit?
No.
Right, the analogy isn't working. Let's move on.
Yes, let's move on to, I think, the last game that we're going to speak about in a wee bit of detail before I take a swing at someone, as always. Spurs 4, Everton 0. I see Paddy Power have decided to be banter merchants again and pay out on bets for Everton to be relegated. Do you think it's that bad?
Nah.
Let me ask you
that. No, I don't think it's that bad. However, played 2, scored none, conceded 7 is pretty bad.
Albeit they weren't expected to beat Spurs, but well, maybe.
They weren't expected to beat Spurs, but they weren't expected to lose 4. Concede 4 to them.
True.
Including, for example, in a very un-Sean Dyche manner, a horrendous error from Jordan Pickford in the second theme of the weekend of goalkeeping errors, and a goal from a corner, which is a very Sean Dyche thing to do, but can be totted up into goals conceded from set pieces column this weekend.
Yeah, I feel like the high pressure just worked. Obviously, like the Pickford
Really
mistake.
worked.
Lack of Solanke as well was notable. Obviously, don't think his injury. Try to get this out of here. He wasn't really notably injured in the past, and funnily enough, as soon as he signs for Spurs, he's injured.
Yeah.
Just no, but
I was
yeah,
going to say the real notable absence was Jared Branthwaite
yeah.
for Everton. Like, they looked lost defensively, and especially if he's not only injured, but if he also leaves, Everton are in big trouble.
I can replace him, but nobody as good as him.
I think that was a result that Spurs needed for the confidence. Like,
after last
it was a win, but it was like a resounding win, and that's what I think they needed.
And Spurs looked good.
Yeah, I just thought their whole high press and just looked good altogether. A lot more composed than last week.
Yes, one team who looked equally as shit as last week is Southampton, who I am very, very confident will finish bottom.
I think if you'd be the Paddy Power in this scenario and you'd be paying out.
Yes, 100. Well, no, I wouldn't be, because like I'm going to have to pay out for that any. Well, yeah, that's true. I'm going to have to pay out for it anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's that they were off. I've wrote it down here. They had 65% possession, and against them, Nottingham Forest had 23 shots, 8 on target.
Average.
How can you be that bad against Nottingham Forest, a team who I had tipped to go down if they get some sort of points deduction again? I had said they might be in trouble. Like, I think I've got them 19th and Southampton 20th in my predictions that we did a few episodes ago. But I think, like, to play that badly was, like, I think, again, Forest had so many chances, but add into goals conceded from set piece column.
It was an absolute gift for Gibbs White, let's be honest.
It really was.
Like it was an initial header that then the defender somehow managed to put onto his foot. If anywhere in the box that could have landed, it could have landed on another defender, even another player. It landed right on Gibbs White's foot, who's standing with an open goal.
Yeah. And Southampton, like Russell Martin after the game said, Southampton don't have the quality of Nottingham Forest in the forward areas.
I would agree.
It's not the thing you want to hear from your manager, though.
It's not the thing you want to hear from your manager. Saying it's really tense in the stadium and we need a win this early in the season is not the type of thing you want to hear from your manager. And spending $6.5 million on Ben Brereton and Diaz, and then saying we don't have the quality up front, it's not the type of thing you want to hear from your manager.
6 million in Premier League peanuts, though.
It is peanuts, but if that was your solution to the quality up front, and you're now saying we don't have the quality up front, you've had plenty of time to deal with that, guys.
Yeah. I'll give you that one. I'll not argue with you on that one.
At lost Che Adams that would get Diaz, so I don't know if that's a fair trade. Lost Che Adams to get Brereton Diaz. Don't know if that's a fair trade.
Yes, Che Adams.
I believe he scored for Bologna in his debut. I could be wrong.
Torino.
Did I say Bologna? Oops.
He did.
Yeah, Torino. Whoops. Apologies for our Italian listeners, because I know there's so many of you.
Oh, yes.
I don't think it was his debut, but he did score.
All right. Well, I tried my best.
He did score at the weekend. I seen a very nice Instagram post from him. Let's go back to Everton, actually. On things you don't want to hear your manager saying. Sean Dyche gave a really interesting interview after the game. Sean Dyche basically said, I don't know how Everton keeps getting into the cycle of having absolutely horrendous starts, and then suddenly we're right at the bottom of the table again, and now we're kind of back against the wall and have to recover, which is an interesting thing for him to pick up on and say out loud.
Honestly, I was going to say honestly, it's the best policy, but at the same time, I've just slagged off Russell Martin for saying that, so you've got to have a happy medium, I feel. I feel like Dyche gets away with it.
Yeah, they've played Brighton and Tottenham. Like, they're two teams who are definitely going to finish top half, probably going to finish top 8 or 9. You know, I don't know.
I would say it fell off since the Moyes days. They've just became mid-table, lingering relegation. Never going to get relegated, but they're always doing there.
We will learn next 3 fixtures in the Premier League for Everton are Bournemouth at home, this weekend. International break followed by Villa away and then Leicester at home. Leicester away. You've got to think they're going to want to get they want to get at least 4 points out of those fixtures.
Win.
There's plenty of football still to be played, put it that way.
There is, but you really don't want to be right at the bottom of this early in the season.
Sure.
As you may have seen on the socials, to move on a bit, I was on my first EFL adventure this weekend. For those of you who guessed, I went to watch Cheltenham Town 0, Wimbledon 1.
Where was it?
I think, as I described on the Twitter after the game, at times dismal. It was kind of a very League Two game of football. Of Cheltenham were quite happy. Like Wimbledon came out for an away team and played some really good football. They kind of happy being on the front foot, pressed Cheltenham a bit. Cheltenham's tactics seemed to be to kind of go long over the top, but kind of forward line didn't really have the pace to get in behind the Wimbledon central defence, who looked to recover quite quickly. Cheltenham only really looked to try when they were 1-0 down, it might be fair to say, and even then, their only real good chances came from set pieces. On the other hand, it was a very enjoyable day for 18 quid in what is quite a nice stadium.
That's something I picked up on in the photos that you shared. I thought the ground looked really nice. I can only really compare it to my travels to see Southend. Obviously, both were away, but and in the National League, but it's just a good vibe around it. And you think, well, what was that? English League Two? Look at Scottish League Two. Compare I know it's not fair to probably compare it, but at the same time, you can compare it. And I just feel the way that some clubs go about their business and the way, like looking at Carlisle, for example, what are they? They're League Two again.
Yep.
Putting photos up of their fan zone, just the atmosphere of the crowd, with the football itself. I just think that some of the English clubs actually do a good job, and I feel like it looked good from what you saw from the photos.
It was a really nice. There perhaps wasn't a ton of atmosphere, despite them having a designating singing section. The singing section was in a really weird place. The singing section was kind of in the very end block, parallel with the goal line of one of the stands, which I thought was a bit weird and very far away from the away fans. The away fans getting a whole stand was good. The attendance for a League Two game, I don't know what's fantastic. I can only compare this to Cheltenham's a town of 100,000. It's not exactly football country. There were a lot of Aston Villa tops going around, especially at the station. There was a lot of people kind of heading towards Villa Park. And to still get 4,600, I think it was, is quite, I thought, quite decent.
Yeah, very good, I'd say.
Though, to be fair, the old man in front of me did repeatedly say to his pal, this is crap.
There's always somebody, though. There's always one.
Not enjoying the football. I think Cheltenham, after the winning against Newport in their first game, are now a bit worried about potentially going down.
Well, it's good. It's good to get out and about. So thank you for keeping us updated on your travels. I'm sure there's many to come.
It is. There is another one coming this weekend. I am heading off to a different game of football. Predict in the comments below if you want, but it will also be all over that again on the socials on Saturday for you to guess where I am going. Kyle, any ideas?
Yeovil.
That would be fun. National League. We'll see. You'll have to wait to find out.
You're not asking him, no, just me.
No, because I know where he's going.
Robert knows where I'm going.
I'm not telling you. You still have to guess yourself.
I've got a good guess in the socials as well.
So this week, transfer window comes to a close. The end of this week, we're going to do a full review of the transfer window coming up very shortly. But we thought we'd pick 5 Premier League players in kind of a style of a 5-a-side team with Russia's goalkeepers. 5 signings for the summer that we thought were very good. Let's start with one that we have all picked. We've all picked the same 2 players. It should be said. We've all picked De Ligt and Xerxes, both signed for Manchester United. So I'll let one of you two, perhaps Kyle, you take De Ligt and Robert, you take Xerxes, or the other way around?
Yes, I'll start with young De Ligt. I think he's young. Of course, ex-Ajax, Juve, and Bayern München. So
yeah,
it can't be too bad to pick for all those teams.
They would have kept him if he was any good.
money talks. So, pool and big league, I just think he'll do really well.
Only
Sure,
25.
sure up a somewhat dismal defence. If Maguire can piss off,
Yeah.
then Delict and Martinez should be good in theory. So that's all I
feel
can
like
say
he'll
on him.
I feel like he'll steady the ship in terms of the Man United defence. Well, at 25, he's played for all those clubs. You think there is an air of experience coming in there, and like I say, I think he's gonna take this opportunity with both hands. Like surely he comes in probably captain material after Finange,
Back
but
with his old manager.
yeah, exactly. I
He
just
was
think the move made sense in my eyes.
he was
So,
captain at Ajax like 19, so he must have something leadership about him.
Yeah. The other Dutchman we all picked was Josh Zirkzee, if anyone.
yeah, I'll go.
Robert.
Just feel like it would be a good addition. Obviously, scoring his debut was kind of backing my point up. I mean, maybe not stealing Garnacho's goal to then roll it out in this week's game, but
I know, they paid
uh,
how much for a man who can't even stay on side?
yeah. But he's just one of these players. I feel like he'll relish the chances in the Premier League and just a goal scorer Man United need. So yeah, I just think he'll come good. So that was the one of my reasoning for including him in my five-a-side.
Interesting, he's not started yet.
Yeah, I feel like they maybe try to see if he'll be this off the bench merchant, but I suppose I don't really know if he had much of a pre-season, so maybe it's just a case of getting minutes into the legs and getting a goal. If that's what's happening, can't really complain with that.
Came up to speed.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did tear up Serie A, I think, so a good league to score goals in. So why not?
A league that's got a reputation for having really strong, tough defences.
Exactly. He's 6'4", so he's not exactly unphysical.
Yeah.
So it should be good.
Other players, you actually both picked 4 of the same 5 players. One for the other half of Manchester, and a very familiar face for the other half of Manchester.
Gundogan, I believe you're going about.
Okay, Gundogan, yes.
I'll kick us off this one. He was good when he left. Like he was one of the better players. Captain, I think he was captain when he left.
Yep.
Had a good season at Barcelona, but I think he fell out with folk, so he came back. He'll come in clutch in the title race as well for sure. So yeah,
I feel when it comes down to the wire and there's games that need to be won, maybe scrappy games in January, February, his experience will probably shine through. He knows what it takes to win the league. He's done it God knows how many times with City. So yeah, just a bit of experience, and I think it was a good sign to bring him back.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to that is kind of his post-match interview on Saturday after the Ipswich game, after coming on and making his second debut, basically saying you don't know what you've lost until it's gone. I didn't realise how good Man City were as a football club, basically.
yeah.
When you think I suppose Barcelona are in one of those kind of transition periods, but yeah.
Yes. And the last player that you both picked, Robert, I'll let you take the 6'2" German who West Ham have paid quite a lot of money for at the age of 31 this summer.
Yeah, age probably isn't on his side to be honest, but I just think he'll fit in well at West Ham. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to capitalise on these set pieces that the teams are kind of pushing for, he's probably one of the players you want in there. Obviously,
Already have a big team.
Yeah, he's 2 games in with no goals, but I mean, sometimes takes players a wee while to settle into the Premier League. And going back to the Euros, I thought he was quite impressive. He was good against Scotland, sadly, and in other games, I thought for someone I didn't really know much about, I was quite impressed. So I just think he'll settle in well at West Ham.
13 goals and 21 German caps.
Yeah, can't really argue with those stats, can you?
Nope.
I would say he's one of those players. You say 31, but he's not a pacey player, so he just doesn't need. He can play till he's 40. Bit like Giroud, just physical, good in the air, all that. West Ham sort of player.
Yeah, obviously has an insane goal scoring record at Werder Bremen of 45 goals and 90 appearances. Not quite as good at the clubs either side of that, about 1 in every 3 games for those, but that's still a very good return on someone. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't score 10 goals this season.
A late bloomer, I think, is what I've heard.
Yes. Do you want me to take a couple off my list? Given that we've all got, you two have both got one left, and I've got three left. I put Max Kilman, another West Ham player who they spent quite a lot of money for, seems to be very well rated. Something I did not know about Max Kilman until this weekend. I believe Max Kilman is eligible to play for Ukraine.
Oh.
But he has one senior England futsal cap, and that makes him ineligible to play for Ukraine. Both his parents are Ukrainian.
Sounds like Max Kilman.
Yeah, didn't really know that about Max Kilman. Think he'll do really well for West Ham. Wolves have, yes, they got 40 odd million for him, but they've lost a hell of a player in Max Kilman.
I'd like to add that he was my other choice at defender, and then I changed my mind.
Yes, you changed your mind too?
Maatsen, I thought he was quite impressive when he played for Haaland at the Euros. So I don't know, just feel like he'll be a good fit. Potential. What is he, 22?
He is.
Something like that. I just feel like he's got potential. He can grow into it, and yeah, just thought it was a decent signing.
Kyle, anything to add to Ian Maatsen? I was going to say, for me, 37.5 million for someone when you've got Luca Digne there already.
Younger.
Younger, I just wasn't overly convinced by him. I don't know.
I don't think he was good at Dortmund. Well, he's reasonable at Dortmund.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, you're saying that when they've got Digne, but they're playing Champions League football and they've got the Premier League and our fixture congestion argument. If you've got a player who can slot in, who's just as good.
Yeah, that's fair. Named team of the season in the Championship with Burnley and team of the season for the Bundesliga last year with Dortmund. Kyle, your other defender is a familiar face going from one Premier League club to another.
I think it's Joachim Anderson. I could be wrong. Anderson for Crystal Palace to Fulham.
Back to Fulham.
After his loan spell in the COVID years. I think it was the COVID years. I think it was really good at Palace. Of course, there was a captain. Good ball playing defender. So it should be good for Fulham. A big loss for Crystal Palace.
Massive loss for Crystal Palace.
I think he's really good. Really underrated.
I think he is very underrated. Obviously, a massive rock at the back. Was that Fulham, as you say, COVID season, got relegated and then didn't go back, I believe, was what happened?
Yeah. They went to Palace not long after.
Yeah.
And then was a stalwart.
It seemed to be a bit of a coup at the time when Fulham and then Palace got him from Lyon. Thought he was kind of destined to be a bit better than that. Obviously, you've got Palace and Lyon links there, similar owners. But a surprise that they've let him go to Fulham. I've got two players left. I'll fire through them very quickly. Another Villa player for me, Amadou Onana, scored on the opening day. Watched him again at the weekend. Looks like he will slot into that Villa side very nicely. Was very impressive for Everton. Probably their standout players. Like one of their standout players, Pickford and Branthwaite. Again, massive loss for Everton. And well worth the money paid, in my opinion, as that kind of ball carrying midfielder will fit very well next to John McGinn. And the other one, more a kind of Newcastle sale to someone else in the Premier League that I'm very sorry to see go, was Minty, who had spent his time on loan at Feyenoord, and I was very excited to probably come in, I thought, start for Newcastle this season in that right wing position. Newcastle, for me, crying out for a right winger, that he looked the perfect fit. Gambian international, has already had an absolutely cracking start with Brighton. Believe scored last weekend. The future, the ceiling is really high for him, and Brighton are going to sell him for a lot of money, and that is going to really annoy me.
Maybe Newcastle.
Not back to Newcastle.
Wouldn't have thought so. Did you have that you? Is that yours?
That is me. Anything to add on them?
I had a few notable. Obviously, I wasn't going to say this, but I actually think Matt O'Reilly's going to be a really good signing for Brighton.
Yes.
I think that's one that'll go under the radar because folk will look like he's came from Scotland. He won't be up to much. I think he'll be pretty good. And I also thought Elliot Anderson signing for Forest was quite a good signing.
Yeah,
for them. It's
going to be a great signing for the future. Again, disappointed to let him go as a Newcastle fan, but both him and Minty were kind of FFP necessary transfers, I believe.
Fair enough. Obviously, it wasn't substantial enough to include him in my team, but yeah, I think that'll be notable, and I think Forest will benefit from that. So yeah, that's my extra points. I
had Solanke as well, floating about the mind, toyed with him.
I never actually thought about Solanke. I'm not sure. I think we all said last week. I think I could go either way.
He's decent, but he's played for big clubs before and flopped, and a lot of money's spent. So I don't know.
That's why I didn't
Correct.
include him, because I feel like that's a signing that you would have expected, and you feel like he'll do what he should.
It could go the other way and go really, really well, and he makes like 40 goals. Unlikely, but
Unlikely.
you never know.
Anyway, with that all done, we're going to move on, and it's a change. It's back to the category game this week. A return to the category game then, and we focused quite a bit on transfers this week, with a week to go before the deadline shuts. It is a transfer special for the category game. And so, the first, I've asked Robert if he'd like to go bottom to top or top to bottom. He's picked top to bottom. The first list this week, best of three, obviously. I'm looking for any signing for Chelsea since Todd Boehly took over as chairman in May 2022. Since Todd Boehly took over in May 2022, Chelsea have signed 38 players. That includes players on loan. And if Chelsea have signed them twice, it only counts once.
Oh dear.
Robert, you're the challenger. It's you to start. Any Chelsea signings since May 2022?
Yeah, Felix.
Here's the one which, if they sign them twice, it only counts once applies to.
Cole Palmer.
Your brother.
Jackson, Nicholas Jackson.
And Nico Jackson.
The pause there did not fill me with confidence.
Enzo Fernandez.
Enzo Fernandez. It's because I've not alphabetized my list.
And
I know that's right. I'll just try to find it on my list.
I've actually hit a wall already. I don't really know much about Chelsea these days. I kind of don't care. I'll go for Mudryk because I think that was after.
Yep, okay, we'll try.
Moises Caicedo.
Yep.
Oh, what's that? I can't remember his name. Who's? I'm actually struggling already.
Clock is
This is not a good start.
After that shoe.
Time.
Robert started. Kyle for a point.
Do I go for Nkunku or Madueke? Nkunku, please.
Both correct. Christian Nkunku and Noni Madueke. I won't go through the whole list because there's far too many, but I'll go over some highlights.
Was Levi Colwell one? No.
Levi Colwell came through their own academy, I believe.
Bloody-
Raheem Sterling, Kalidou Koulibaly, Marc Cucurella, Wesley Fofana, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Dennis Zakaria, some
Was
other
it-
people who don't play.
Was the other Fofana? Was it David Detro or Datro?
Yep, David Datro Fofana, Axel Dizazi, Robert Sanchez, Romeo Lavia, Toshin Adarabioyo, Marc Juilleux, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Pedro Neto. There's some selection.
Madueke, which I was trying to remember, and that's sort of.
And a whole lot of players who don't play. So, number 2 has 25 answers.
Oh, I wonder.
Any of the top 25 most expensive English footballers of all time.
It's me
Kyle,
first.
you're to start. So I'll read out the wee bump again. It's from Transfer Marks. The prices are in euros. If they should appear on this list twice, i.e. they've twice been good enough to go on the list, it only counts once. Number 26 is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who Liverpool paid 38 million euros for in 2017-18. Let's
Easy.
go first.
Jude Bellingham.
Number 3.
Michael Owen. Oh God.
And that's game, folks. Michael Owen is not on the list.
I thought he went to Real Madrid for a decent amount.
Only 15.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Oh well, we keep going because that was quite embarrassing.
I'm glad you did that because I'm drawing blanks.
I mean, Kyle's getting a point, but you can...
Sterling.
No, it's...
Again, you managed to pick the one who applies on the list twice. Just signing for Man City and Chelsea.
Oh,
I don't know, you've bettered it now.
You've got 2 that are cost more than Jude Bellingham.
I guess they are. What was Bellingham's?
103.
Oh, Maguire.
Nope. Number 5, but still correct.
I just meant in general.
Jack Grealish and Declan Rice are the two you're looking for that were more expensive than Jude
I always
Bellingham.
forget Rice went for that much.
You've
Anfield.
also
I
got
generally thought Owen would have went for like 40, 50, to be honest.
Mine was back in
And-
2001 though.
Yeah.
in order Harry Kane, Jadon Sancho, Dominic Solanke, Mason Mount, Ben White, John Stones, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Kyle Walker, Ben Chilwell, Calvin Phillips, Max Kilman, Cole Palmer, James Maddison, Rio Ferdinand, Anthony Gordon, Harvey Barnes, Conor Gallagher, Archie Gray, Tammy Abraham, and Andy Carroll.
Some vicious names in that list.
There are some very recent names in this list because Premier League clubs now just pay shit tons for anyone English.
English tax.
English tax it is. We'll play the third one for fun. 43 answers to this. Robert's going to wish he'd gone the other way. Any player signed during Steven Gerrard's spell as Rangers manager?
How is that fair?
I'll still not win.
Robert Starr.
Ken.
Ryan Kent.
I don't know what years he was active.
2018-19, and then he left 2021-22.
Jibba
Yep.
50 grand, Klein Kamara.
50 grand. 50 grand. Glenn Kamara.
Connor Goldson.
Yep.
Who did he sign? I believe McGregor's re-signed when he was in charge, I'm sure.
Yes, he does.
Very good. Borna Barisic.
Or Barisic. Yep.
Uh,
Played so good against them that he then signed for Rangers.
We were at that game.
he did, and that reminds me of Eros Grezda.
Yeah, Eras
Like-
Grezda.
Do loan players count?
Yes, I believe they do.
John Alves Flanagan.
They don't move on.
He was on loan. He was a permanent.
They don't have a do-over. Oh, in that case, yes, you are correct. He is there.
So I can't have loan players because that was my next one was a loan player.
Okay. I don't know. I can't remember. Robert.
Played in Morelos.
I think so.
Thanks.
Was that
Thanks.
one?
No, was he before?
Pedro Morelos is
Oh,
not
that
correct.
was Pedro Caixinha, I think, actually.
Any
He's
of
not
those
giving-
Kyle?
He's not given his answer yet.
Well, I had a few, but I don't know if you count loan players or not.
We'll pick one that's safe.
Well, he is safe. I know City signed him, but he was on loan.
Well,
Ovia Jario, I signed him.
yeah, that's fine.
He was on loan, wasn't
I
think
think Morelos was still.
I think it does count. I think loans do count, but I couldn't remember.
he?
Ones you could have had: Scott Arfield, Jamie Murphy, Nicola Katic, Kyle Lafferty, Gareth McCauley, Andy Firth, Matt Polster, Umar Sadiq, Lasana Koulibaly, Joe Worrell, Jermaine Defoe, Stephen Davis, Jake Hasty, Jordan Jones, Greg Stewart, George Edmondson, Philip Hollander, Brandon Barker, Shea Ojo, Andy King, Yanis Hadji, Florian Canberry, Calvin Bassey, John McLaughlin, Liam Balogun, Kamar Ruth, Cedric Itten, Wangani Zungu, Jack Simpson, Scott Wright, and Mandy Offabor, Fashion Sakala, John Lindstrom, and Juninho Bacuna.
You seen Rosser as well?
Well, that's the list.
I zoomed out
Well,
halfway through that.
Hollander was the one I was going to after Morelos.
Unfortunately, incorrect, and Kyle's streak continues. Robert will be back on the game next week.
So, in other words, you're back in the game in 2 weeks.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
I
Don't
know.
get too cocky now, Mr. Kyle. But it's a chance for one of us to get cocky as we find out who's top of the tree in the FPL update.
I'm happy this week. I've moved up.
Have not.
We'll just start doing bottom ways. Down in 12th, pushing that championship is Greg being a silly Billy down there.
It's fine. Robert will forget to change his team. I'll overtake him eventually.
No, I said he's got to take it seriously this year because he's doing well.
Aye, for the first 3 weeks, maybe. You're in the relegation playoff, mate. I'm always one space, but I was usually one space above that.
I'm 8th. I'm just doing Stoke side of things. Same as last year, just chilling. And Mr. Consistent is now 3rd place. So
I'll
still
take
there.
that. I was saying it first until Kyle Pagan. To be fair, Matthew, I've ruined it. Sorry. I'll let you go.
Kyle Pagan is number 2, got that silver with his triple captain week wasted. Well, wasted, used.
Used
then Math-
well.
Not wasted. He got a hat trick.
Yeah, I know what I mean, but he's already used it, is what I meant.
Aye. Well, no,
Yeah.
power play from Pagan. I'll admit that, and well
Yep.
done. I'm happy to be sitting at 3rd. That's all I'm going to say.
Fan's own favourite Matthew is 1st.
Well done, Matthew.
53.
Well done, Matthew.
Oh,
I
I
have
lied,
to
actually.
say-
I lied. There's a joint 3rd place. You and Kieran Thompson sitting joint 3rd.
Well done,
Well, it's-
Keedan.
I didn't
I'm
notice
in
that.
at 3rd. So, no.
But Alphabetical order saves you on
Yes.
that one, so
Well done, Kieran.
And well,
I have to say, what a job Robert Adams is doing at Ray of Sunshine. After the last few seasons, it's been a great turnaround.
and
Let's
Sam
hope it
Charles is
continues.
stiff folded.
anyway, that brings us to an end this week. Join us again next week, where you will get to see potentially Robert and Kyle both cry after their respective sides lose some derbies. I'll probably be crying as well because VAR's done something stupid. Anyway, we will see you this time next week. See you later.
Adios.
Aye, Godspeed.